It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Well, I want you to know it's not hot. It's comfortable outside, however. So enjoy the last few days of summer. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. We have a website, which is hoodresearch.org. The phone number is area code 248-234-2371. Again, the telephone number is area code 248-234-2371. We encourage you, for those of you who are considering sponsoring this program, to write your check or your money order out to Hood Research. But if you prefer, you can write it out to Watkins Broadcasting Company. We have no objection to that, Watkins Broadcasting Company. But we would like you to mail it to Hood Research so that we can make sure it gets credited for this program. And the address is P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan, 48204. Again, to Hood Research, P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan, 48204. We also ask that you follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, make your comments, read what we have on the Facebook page, on the Twitter page. We want you to become involved in the community. We appreciate the fact that you tune into this show and that you encourage others to tune in. But we also want you to participate. On Saturday, the second Saturday of October, is the regular monthly meeting for Hood Research. We meet one Saturday a month. That's the second Saturday, from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. at the Dabo Center. The Dabo Center is located on Grand River, the corner of Wyoming. The Dabo Center is where we meet on the second Saturday, Grand River on the corner of Wyoming, from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. And I want to say good morning to Rosa, to Ron. Good morning to Vera and Barbara. Good morning to Jackie. Good morning to Carl and Katrina. Good morning to Al and Henry and to Don. I also want to say good morning to Les, way on the west side. And good morning to Jay, way on the east side. I also want you all to know that this station is going to be seen by those who have regular television with the antenna on channel 15.1 and 15.2. That's regular television, 15.1, 15.2. We're on Comcast 90. We're on Fire Stick, Roku, on your phone, on your tablet, and there's so many ways to tune in to WHPR, and we want you to take advantage of all of them. For those of you who are not comfortable or familiar with the computer, think about going to Wayne County Community College, particularly if you are 60 years of age or older, because classes are free for those of you who are 60 years of age and older. There are 3 computer classes. 1, Introduction to Computer. 2, Navigating the Internet. And 3, the coding and other aspects of computer operations. That's Wayne County Community College. Telephone number. It's area code 313-496-2600. Again, for Wayne County Community College, it's area code 313-496-2600. We are now on from 9 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. 9 a.m. until 10:30 a.m. for an hour and a half. We ask that you share that information and you call in. Let us know what you're thinking about. We're here, as you know, it's feast or famine. We have guest schedule. However, that's not going to interrupt us talking to you. I want you to know that for the first part of the show, I have a co-host sitting in that you are probably familiar with. And his name is Billy Jones.
Good morning, Ms. Theo Broden.
Well, thank you for being
This is, for those folks who are not familiar with the that identification system, that facial identification system, I know you're thinking that I'm Tabiti. But no, I'm sitting in temporarily for Tabiti. I'm Billy E. Jones, and this is so great to be sitting with you, Theo.
Well, thank you.
It takes me back to the EEOC, the dinner after the services that Mr. J.D. Hill used to have at the Church of Accountability. The first time that I attended, I had an opportunity to sit at the table right across from you, and I was so excited.
Oh, goodness. Goodness.
I was so excited. I said, "Ooh, me goodness. I'm sitting right across from Theo Broden."
Oh, shucks.
Yes. I mean, you're a legend.
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Come on now.
Yes, you are. You are a legend. And with that, can you help us to reflect a little bit for those of us who were not able to attend the Hood Research last meeting? Was anything exciting going on there? Any great information? Anybody there that we should hear about?
Well, at our meetings, there are always guests who come in and speak. We encourage the members and others who attend to share information as well. We don't just want to sit there and preach to you, because there are other people who do research. They read. They go to additional meetings. They find out, what's going on in the community, and they come and share it.
Yes.
We had the the police commissioner, Bill Davis, who attended our meeting earlier this month, and he was talking about what was going on, and the police commissioners had a meeting after. It was after hours, and we had talked about facial recognition. We had talked about having an opportunity to go to the police headquarters. But what they're proposing for the traffic light and the street lights and the trees and the trash cans and the buildings and wherever else they want to put these cameras is different from what goes on at the police station.
Okay.
Now.
Oh, so you're saying they want to put these facial identification cameras in all of those areas that you just identified, potentially?
Well, maybe not all of them.
I mean, I know, maybe not the garbage can, maybe not the garbage cans. But you still could hide them in the trees because they can decorate.
Yes.
And they want them to be where you just don't know that they're there.
Buildings and traffic lights, intersections is what they tell you. And the mug book is something I think people have heard about. Some people have seen them. Some people have had an opportunity to leaf through them. Well, the mug book,
Yes.
for anybody who might not know, is it's like a photo album, and it has a series of pictures of people who have been picked up, arrested, booked, whatever.
Yes.
Information on them, age, height, and, address, and any other ways of identifying people. They have now converted that over to computer.
Oh, right.
See, so now all of the mug shots are on computer.
Okay.
When they arrest someone or they're looking for someone, they have the still shot from a video camera, perhaps that was in a liquor store, gas station, wherever.
Yes.
They have it on a one camera side, and then they show the rows of pictures that have been computerized, the rows that were in the mug book. And they compare that one picture to the rows of pictures from the mug book.
Okay.
Now, if they find something that they think is a good match, then what they're supposed to do is take that picture, that still picture, and the
Mugshot.
one from the mugshot and send it over to the detectives.
Right.
And the detective's job at that point is to compare them and seek out the information, find out if the mugshot is actually that person. Okay. Now, that method of identifying people, I don't really have an objection to. What I have an objection to is the camera in the traffic light at the intersection. Because if someone breaks into your home, that camera's not going to jump down out of the traffic light and run down the street, around the corner, into your house to help you. Oh, here I am.
And you
red,
know,
yellow, green.
And while you're speaking on that you're speaking on right there, Theo, let's talk about if you're home alone and you're visually impaired, or you may have some other physical problem or being somewhat of a disability, is that camera going to come to your rescue?
Absolutely not.
And so if you're
Absolutely
in
not.
distress and you're trying to make a call, and you need somebody to come out, and they tell you, "Don't worry about it, Miss Theo. We've got a camera that's going to take a picture, and we're going to know who is trying to get in and who got in your house."
Right.
I know we know you're there,
Yeah.
but don't worry, our camera's going to take a picture. So you want somebody to come and help you.
That's what you call after the fact.
Yes.
After the fact, after the fact. What the members of the community want is prevention. Prevention. We want to have more officers on patrol.
Yes.
Now, recently, maybe about a week and a half ago or so,
Okay.
I heard the chief of police,
Uh-oh.
of all people,
Not Chief Craig.
oh, the only one.
Not the deputy mayor.
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh, no.
Double trouble. He was looking, they have cameras, you know, got the green light and all of this. And at the headquarters, you can actually see the streets, see the businesses, see the people.
Yes.
So now, if there was someone watching, which there isn't all the time,
Yes.
we were told they have 500 cameras. They do not have 500 officers nor civilians watching those 500 cameras inside the station.
Come on now. All right.
Okay, now, virtual patrol is what he called it. At that point, I was ready to, anyway. And so he says, you're watching the camera. A woman is walking down the street, and a truck pulls up, and two guys get out, and they rush over and they mug her. Okay?
Uh-huh. That's what they're watching on the camera.
Yes, TV. They're watching on TV. It's like what? CSI, Law, whatever
All
the name of
that,
these
all-
shows are. if we had officers on patrol, don't you think it might be a better chance that the officers could pull up and rescue the woman?
Yes, yes,
Or man, for that matter.
yes, yes.
But he seemed to be as pleased as punch that he could watch it on camera at the headquarters. Oh,
Well,
heaven
it's
help
similar
us.
to some years ago that they tried to make the precinct office's office where it was virtual because the office closed down at a certain time in the evenings. And you had to come in and you could see, you know, you could be seen at the door by television or whatever it was.
But you're outside, and they're inside.
And there's nobody there to help you.
Oh, no.
Yes. And so, of course, they had found
Well,
that
those-
was not going to work or
Those
didn't
mini
work.
stations?
Yes.
Yo, many stations.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And so, I
Yeah,
mean,
we
people,
didn't have so many.
yeah, and even, I think even somebody came and shot up the precinct station at one point.
Because they weren't open to help.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
That could ruffle your feathers quite
Yes.
a bit. Here you go
Yeah.
for help and no one's there. We need more officers in our police department. We need more officers in our police department. Now, my understanding is there have been numerous job fairs around the city.
Yes.
And there have been many people who show up because there are a number of people who are looking for employment. And when they find that this business over here is hiring at, say, $16 an hour, but the police recruiter is hiring at $19 or $20 an hour, guess what? They sign up for the police department.
Okay. Well, you know, they just had a big job fair at what's that?
Considine.
Considine.
This past Friday.
And I think they had
with lunch.
between 60 or 75 vendors that was there, and they were hiring on the spot.
Right, right. They also have police recruiters there as well.
Yes, yes.
And I'm glad that they have police recruiters because we need people on the force. We need people on the force in the city who live among us.
Yes.
We need them living among us because, one, they are a deterrent to crime. So now you know that residency has been eliminated.
Yes.
However, the numbers of officers who no longer live in the city are a deterrent to crime in the city that is their new residence.
That's right. And Theo, I can testify to your statement about the officers being a resident of this city. As a person that was driving and was pulled over, and the officer and I got into a nice conversation, actually. And it was a process where he says, you know, I'm saying, thank you, officer, for your conversation and for being so generous and kind. And he told me, he said, my brother, I live in this area. I live in this area. I respect my neighborhood. I respect my fellow neighbors.
Oh, wow.
We have a call if you want to take it.
Sure, sure.
Caller, you're on the Theo Broden Show, and you're talking to Theo. I'm Billy.
How are you watching us, and your name?
Happy Monday, Slacko, Slacko.
Well, happy Monday to you, and thanks for calling.
Just want to bring up two subjects that I looked up. City Council to consider ban on facial recognition check.
Really?
And, City Council legal advisor reject Detroit police use of facial recognition technology.
Wonderful.
We'll see how long they hold on, because we know how one day they'll flip-flop and do another negative drop.
Right. Well, wait. Stop. I want people to know that the telephone number to call any council member is 224-3443. 313-224-3443 for any council member. When they answer, you just ask for whoever you want to talk to. If it's Councilman Spivey, Councilman Jones, Councilman whoever. They all have individual numbers. But if you want to just remember one number,
What's that number, Theo?
area code 313-224-3443.
Oh, give it to me one more time, Theo.
Area code 313-224-3443 for
All right.
any council member.
So I don't have to remember 9 numbers.
That's correct. You don't.
Just one.
Yep, just one. Okay, now, Sly Stone, go with the next point.
All right. Detroit Police Commissioners Darrell Brown and Willie Burton had front row seats during the training session on learning about the role of independent counsel for civilian oversight.
Oh.
You gotta love these guys because they're for the people.
Oh, yes, yes.
They- and
The
if
two
they
of
want
them
to-
and Bill Davis voted against facial recognition. There were
Yes.
3 of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if they want facial recognition, put it in there on those racist, hateful cops that's running around here talking about they're afraid for their life as they brutally, violently
Oh,
kill
please.
mothers and daughters and males and females of color. You want facial recognition, put it on them. Put it on their cars and on their boots and on
Right.
their belts. And facial recognize what they're doing with
Exactly.
this brutal, out of control,
Well, one of the things,
law and order. I believe that's code word to get a trigger and kill us nigglets out the way. But
I
that's
gotcha.
another story.
yes.
Yeah, you guys keep up the good work. Hood Research, you coming up with a meeting, aren't you?
Absolutely, the second Saturday of October, which will be October the 12th. Location, it will be the Dabo Center, which is on Grand River and Wyoming, right on the corner of Grand River and Wyoming. The meeting is from 2 until 6 p.m. And I'm glad you asked that because at this particular meeting, we're going to talk about the Gary, Indiana convention. There was a black convention in Gary, Indiana, Black Caucus, I guess I should call it. And Coleman Young was in attendance, and Sam Riddle was in attendance, and some other people that we know. So we're going to look at a short documentary on that and have a panel discussion. Sam Riddle will be there, and Reverend Sheffield will be there, Albert Martin, who was at the convention, and Rochelle Mays. They'll be there to talk about it. And the point is, in 2019, going into 2020, what should our agenda be?
I know what my agenda is right now.
Uh-oh, what's your agenda right now?
You know, we talk about that facial identification thing.
Oh, yes.
Now, I want you to keep watching because we're going to show you how that facial identification thing works. You've been watching thinking that you were watching Billy Jones, but actually, I am your friend, your partner, Tabiti. Okay? Now, we're going to take about a 1 minute quick break, if that's okay with you, Theo.
Sure.
And I'm going to show you what happens when I take this other side that shows you Tabiti.
Okay.
I'm both today,
All right.
but I'm going to show you how it works. You go ahead and talk, Theo, and we're going to bring in and show you that I can beat Tabiti.
Hold on, Sly Stone. Don't disappear on
No,
me.
go ahead and keep talking, Theo.
Yes.
We're going to do
All
what
right.
you do, Sean.
So, we have this concern about the approval and the use of it. But in the meantime, I'm glad to hear that the Detroit City Council is considering voting against it. And that would be a good thing. The state of Michigan legislators are going to talk about it. They want to vote against it. The federal government is talking about voting against it. So why the oversight group, community oversight, by the way, go figure. They're supposed to be on the side of the community. The biggest issue with it is interfering with folks' privacy. My biggest issue with it is they want to talk about patrolling the community with cameras. And like I said, no camera is going to jump down and say, "Here I come." I'm not Superman. I'm a super traffic light camera. It's dumb. It's just totally dumb. So anyway, that number once again for City Council members for any of the 9. If you dial 313-224-3443, you ask for any council member you want. And you can call it as many times as you want. And you can also ask the receptionist to send a message to all 9 of them. But I prefer to call the number and ask for them individually. Lastly, that's the area code 313-224-3443. And now, we're back to you, Sylvia. And I have been joined by...
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program. At least I welcome myself, I guess.
That's called facial recognition.
I love y'all. But you know, I said it every step and every breath. They've already been violating your rights and trying to watch you. Now they want your consent to continue to do.
Yes.
What they've already been doing. And so, yeah, it's now time for the people to speak up and speak out. Love y'all.
I love you too. But that would be one way of putting money into the general fund and spending it on something else that does not benefit the community. Because we've been told that there is enough money to hire additional police officers, and we want them hired from within the community where we live. It's crazy to ride along Telegraph. On the other side of Telegraph is, Livonia or Canton or Redford or something, and you have a Detroit police officer parked in another city's parking lot to go into their restaurant. We got plenty of restaurants around here. And it's a deterrent to crime wherever they are. We need them here among us.
That's right. You guys know that a judge says U.S. government can be sued for a Flint water crisis.
Oh, that's some wonderful news.
ABC News, go.com, anybody want to look it up? And, yeah.
Well, you know what's so sad about that? It's interesting that when they had the emergency announced, there was not a Corps of Engineers from the federal government sent into Flint to rectify the problem.
Thank you.
They could have had a Corps of Engineers sent there. They could have had a Corps of Engineers sent to New Orleans. But no. It seems to me that wherever there's water, be it the ocean or the Gulf or the lake or a stream, we are not wanted to have a residence on those shorelines. So what better way to get rid of the people in New Orleans than to blow up the levee?
That's right.
I know. And somebody say, well, where do you get that from? Well, Larry King did a night show. And when he was off, Beverly Smith, I believe her name is, who is a journalist, would sit in for Larry King. She's an African American. And she sat in for him one night, and she is the reporter who announced that the levee had been blown up. Not that the hurricane didn't hit New Orleans, but it was an opportunity for others to take advantage of that. And when they blew up the levee, people just continued to think, oh, whoa, that must be the hurricane that did all that damage. And afterwards, they had alligators and snakes and what have you, just consuming folks and poisoning folks and killing folks. And then you had white folks on the other side of the bridge. They tried to go into the parish, which is called another, community or city. And as they were walking across the bridge, the whites over there said, we don't want you over here. And they started killing them.
Yeah.
There were African Americans who had credit cards, very good credit, went to hotels, and they were denied admission. There were many inhumane things that happened during that hurricane, and more humane things were happening to the people in Flint. but there was no Corps of Engineers sent to the rescue.
Wow.
We have to kind of keep in mind too that if you look at the history of America and its atrocities, we can go back to the smallpox. Is anytime a population is not wanted, there will be nefarious ways in which to get rid of them, move them on, or just completely eliminate them. Some people call that genocide.
That's right. But you know, I always say that history repeats because, you know, from the very beginning, they mass murdered a whole population in Africa.
Yes.
And, you know,
Yes.
they decided to rape them as well as cause a massacre to get rid of a whole population. But I guess because there's the criminals, racists, and rapists, I'm coming from Mexico, they're sitting in the White House, Senate, and Supreme Court. Now, you know they've already said that there's a report that investigated that the last guy, Kavanaugh, that they put in there, they've already did another investigation to find out he lied about the rapists and all the stuff that he was doing.
Right. They're talking about
weapons of destruction. And I always say it right there in that White House.
Impeachment?
Yeah, they're talking about impeaching the Supreme Court judge that was just seated.
Yeah.
Because of their investigation. Yeah. We'll see if that comes up to cover up the impeachment of the president. You see, all kinds of distractions. You're all right. Yes.
Another distraction, and you got to remember there are about 13 families in the world that apparently control everything.
Yeah, so, heard about that. Yeah,
you got to consider if that's what they call it, a conspiracy or not. But conspiracy to me every day seems to wave the truth in the face.
Well, I tell you, though, we cannot give up, will not give up. And it's interesting that there was so much jealousy that with the various cities, I think they've been documented by Dr. Claude Anderson. And the most famous is Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. The second is Rosewood, where African Americans were fine. They were living among themselves, trading among themselves, not bothering anybody, not trying to break any kind of segregation rules or regulations. They were in their own neighborhoods, their own businesses, their own homes. And the first bombing in the United States of America was over Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was a bombing of that federal building, which was there also. But the first bombing was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And a lot has been done to destroy the other. Dr. Anderson says it's 150 cities that were established as black communities, and they were able to sustain themselves. But whites were so jealous, and
Yeah, they wanted to continue to own and run things and consider you as their property to do.
Right.
The U.S. government finally admits that cannabis really does kill cancer cells. And my comment was, so you demonize, so you can profit off of black lives. Now, confirmation to me is law and order is just a code word to block and block blacks up and out.
Yes.
History repeats.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because there is so much money to be made in cancer patients, cancer research, cancer centers, etc., that they did not and do not want it to be cured. But I'm glad you brought up the fact that marijuana, cannabis, CBD oil, all of those in the same family can be used to cure cancer. but there had not been a desire to cure it because of the profit.
That's
But
right.
now that it's coming out anyway,
And you have to consider the population control MO. They want to get rid of billions of people so they can keep the control over the people.
and as they sell it, make the profit off of selling it. We just need to share the information with our people that the consumer end of it is not where they just need to be all the time on all products.
One interesting thing also that well, we know the pharmaceutical companies are struggling to survive, but when I think about the family that just got sued, I'm not sure the pharmaceutical company's name that produces the opioid, now they're trying to file bankruptcy. They just don't want to have to deal with all of the lawsuits that are coming. One of the interesting things is that many of these companies already knew, and many of them do research on different types of plant and other life in South America, particularly the rainforest, where you have an abundance of different types of plants, vegetations, and things, which do have the ability to heal people. But what they do is they go down there, they'll survey it, find out its effects, they keep it quiet on the hush, then they bring it back to their laboratories, find a synthetic version of it, and then this is where they make their profits. So with the opioid, they know that the CBD oil is equally, if not better, effective in treating people's issues. But of course, if you can go to one of the outlets that sells CBD oil, that puts the opioid manufacturers out of business. So we have, and then you look at some of the particularly with 45 in the White House, a lot of deregulation, which is criminal, very criminal. They will deregulate things in order to be able to make sure that these profiteers profit.
Right.
That's right.
Now, is that Oxycontin that they're suing over? Is that the drug? Oxycontin?
It's one of them, yes.
Oh, wow.
There's, I think, a couple of little variations of it, but yeah, the family that owns it and they're crying broke, although they're worth over $15 billion or more dollars.
Oh, goodness, and it crying broke. Oh, boy. 15 billion makes you broke.
I gotta go, y'all. Y'all about to make me late, but long-awaited EPA study says fracking pollutes drinking water.
Oh,
Another
yes.
way, another form is like he said, they get rid of these regulations. They also are hiding information that's proving climate change exists. That's going undercover through this administration. So, yeah, they're constantly doing what they're going to do to
Right.
profit while they kill you.
Right, right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And also, okay, and also about the South American rainforest, it's been reported that it provides 20% of the oxygen in the world. So, as hard as that may be for people to believe, the planet is one planet, and it rotates, So to hear that it provides 20% of the oxygen is not difficult to understand at all.
Most of us who have had, when schools were definitely teaching on a higher level, realize and know the relationship, I guess they call it symbiotic, where we exhaled carbon dioxide, which helps the plants. They in turn provide oxygen, which helps us. So once you destroy the ecosystem or cause it to be out of balance, you create a lot of things. Now, I thought to myself, Theo, because I'm working on different properties, and I noticed the house next door, they got crazy plants inside their house. The windows are open so I can see the plants because they're letting them get sunlight. But I just say that because even in the wintertime, you can have certain plants that will survive, and it's good to have an in-house because there's not really many leaves on the trees, right? So we need to look at holistic ways of being able to take care of ourselves.
You're absolutely right. And making sure that you learn how to care for whatever plant you have in your home. And there are some plants that are very sturdy. So if you forget to water them one day, the plants will look at you and say, you better come water me, But but they can survive a little longer than others. So it's good to check into that. That's a great idea. And actually to have one in each room if you can. But I had a nice plant which was about 4 feet tall. And this was some years ago. I learned the hard way that it has to have air circulation. And as long as it sat by the window and near the door where the air circulated, it was fine. But one day, I kept trying to understand what the bump was. There was a bump, sometime a click, some bump. And then I noticed that there were little birds that were trying to land on the branches. But they didn't understand that the window, which was clear, was actually preventing them from going to these branches, and they would run into it. So I moved the plant to keep the birds from hurting themselves, but I hurt the plant because I ended up putting it on the other side of the room where there was not enough air circulation. So anyway, there's a balance that you have to learn all about.
And I'm glad that Sly Soul brought up the idea of fracking, because it shows me, just like with this Enbridge oil line from Canada, which unfortunately I have this just uncomfortable feeling that at some point they're already having slight issues with it. But I look at the idea of I'm a sort of an environmentalist. I'm an earth sign. I guess that helps out a lot too. Environmentalist and a conservationist. So I believe in taking care of the planet, and I make it a point to recycle. But when she brought up fracking, it's the idea that industry has not found enough ways to destroy the earth, so they look for new ways to destroy the earth and then justify it. And again, with 45 in the White House, and President Obama did set in place a lot of regulations that were to look out for the environment, the planet itself, even in joining in the summit with other world countries, countries of the world rather, that are looking at the global situation of what's happening. And this young, I got to give her a lot of credit, this young lady, 16-year-old, who was on that trip from across the Atlantic to America and spoke before the UN, Greta Thunberg, extremely intelligent young lady, saying, well, you adults, look, you've lived your lives, but you don't seem to care about our lives with all the things that you're doing. So I'm hoping that people, just all of us in general, keep that in mind. But with the fracking, it's another. I have no problem with capitalism. I have a problem with greed that destroys in order for other people to profit and benefit from it. So we have to keep that in mind too, because even with all the issues going on, how are we going to live? Are we going to have, as Theo knows and has said, you had the incinerator, which was increasing the asthma in the area that it was.
That's right.
We have to look at ourselves as humans as well, not only the political aspect, but just the fact that how we're going to survive if we're all walking around with masks on our face and oxygen tanks on our back like we're getting ready to go scuba diving. We got a problem.
Hey, the only thing that would prevent is facial recognition. Mask and oxygen tanks, Oh, wow.
And I hear that they, with the facial recognition, because anytime you create something technologically, you also have things that can counter it. So from what I understand, there are certain glasses, of course they're not marketed yet because facial recognition hasn't got its foothold, in terms of the system, but there are glasses that can distort whatever the facial recognition is, so that when they look at you, they may see Bozo the Clown or something like that, because it's just like if you get a new lock, you can find a guy who can pick that lock, so you're never really safe. But if there's something, and I'll look more into it, but I know this came on, I believe it was 60 Minutes, this is over a year ago, where they do have certain things that can disorient the facial recognition technology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So so it has been undone already. That's not what the word I was looking for, but Oh my
disabled
goodness.
more or less.
Yeah. Wow. That's good information to know. Good information to know. And they do their glasses distort.
Yes, somehow or another, whatever the transmission of light or beam or whatever it is they use to pick up your face, these particular glasses will disable that signal. I'm not sure if it's signal or light or whatever it is they beam, but yeah,
Wow.
there is technology. It's just that right now there's not a need for it on a major scale, so it's not popular. But let it happen. I'll invest in that company.
Yeah, that's very interesting. The numbers here, if you have any information you wish to share on any of these subjects, call us at 313-868-4336. Again, that's area code 313-868-4336.
You know,
That's amazing.
one of the things that, I'm sort of a technology buff. I can't really handle it in terms of its operation. Just like seems the cell phones, they keep coming out with things that you don't really need, but they upgrade the tech. They upgrade the difficulty, as far as I'm concerned, because one I've got functions well, but they say, well, we're going to add this little feature or that little feature. Again, that's part of what capitalism is about. You have to keep selling a product if you're going to stay in business. But, you know, there's a point of saturation where you just can't sell anymore. And they haven't come to that realization. One of the things I know that's very interesting is that it's like with cars. I look at certain cars, what they'll do, and this just is across the board with all who manufacture and produce. They don't do anything really like, just a quick example, the 2006, I believe, to 2011 Cadillac. It's the same basic body. What they do is they may put a little piece of chrome on this year. They may move the mirror, the clock, and the dashboard the next year, but it's the same car it was last year. But it justifies staying in business, and it also allows them to keep adding to their bottom line, but you don't really get anything. So I say that with the phones and many other things as well. One phone call is just as good as the other phone calls. But however, if you want to stay in business, you say, well, now we put this little chime feature on there, and people feel like they have to stay current because it's something about either peer pressure or just that whole idea of I want to say you feel good because you own something. And you shared with me a story, Theo, and I remember old blues song had the same thing, where where a guy gets a car, particularly in our community, and what he does is he wants to ride around so all his friends can see what he's driving in.
Oh, yeah.
Again, this is because people need to feel like their worth is measured in material things. So it's the same with the phones, but yeah, it gives people that, it uplifts them, a spirit that really shouldn't be uplifted by something material, but we've grown into a society like that.
Well, as I remember it, our culture nurtured that because our people could not participate in things like going to the Poconos for your honeymoon, or going to Aspen on a ski trip, or flying to the Bahamas. Those things just weren't going on. And so the material acquisitions, the shiny, as they say, the bling bling and all of that came about, and they had something that made them feel good and something that others would comment on. And yes, that's really sharp, man. I really like that. And it was a substitute for being a full participant in this country and on this planet. Why couldn't you go to Aspen? Why couldn't you fly to the Bahamas? Why couldn't you go to the Poconos? You know, and so that was a forbidden activity, if you will. So there needed to be something culturally that would enhance the person's existence. So is my opinion that's how we got into that, as sad as it was. And of course, as the years progressed, and we got into the civil rights and the elimination of segregation, etc. And then you get to a point where you see the money is really what they wanted. So they made a lot off of us.
Now, I'm going to challenge our viewers to share with us, and the numbers here are 868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. But I want to challenge the viewers to share with us any book that you've read lately on black history or black life. And I bring that up because of what we just spoke of, which was basically conspicuous consumption. You buy something in order to solicit some type of praise or acknowledgement for it. And E. Franklin Frazier, I had to get that right. E. Franklin Frazier wrote a book called The Black Bourgeoisie, in which he articulated that particular idea or thought that we buy in order to consume. Now, I have to say personally, I was pretty much outcast in my community because I wasn't trying to wear the shark skin pants, the Italian knit pants, the Italian sweaters, and that kind of thing. And of course, men did that because it was something that would draw a woman's attention. Similar to the cars, we had to do something, let it know, hey, look, baby, I'm popping too. You know, he may not have had, and I've known brothers like this, and some of you brothers out there may have been like this. I've known brothers who had a nice Lincoln, he had nice clothes. I'm cool with him. But when you go in his house, all he's got is a couple of lawn chairs, no furniture or anything at all. But when he hits the street, he's ready to hit the street. So it gives him that image that he can hold his head up a little bit higher. As I was brought up, I always held my head up high anyway. I would have been part of what you call the Mod Squad hippie generation. And my mom kind of tried to dissuade me from that type of lifestyle, because I was into guitar and rock and roll. But she said, you're not going to get a girlfriend like that. Well, if I had to get a girlfriend by wearing a costume, then that wasn't going to work anyway. And however, the ones who like music and me playing the guitar, they didn't care what I had on, some holes in your jeans, you know.
And now that's the style.
So don't let societies, and I think this is extremely bad for women in particular, because there's the whole industry of makeup, cosmetics, hair, eyelashes, you name it. All of that stuff is something that, I mean, Helena Rubinstein, Estee Lauder, et cetera, they thrive on making a woman feel that she's not complete unless she has rouge on her face or she has this lipstick. And every year women are challenged with these different fashion things. Now they got cutout dresses. They've been out for a couple of years, but that's the new fashion trend. And then, as you indicated, the holes in the jeans. I was wearing them just because, and now you have to pay a whole lot of money for something like that. It's ridiculous.
Oh, goodness. 868-4336, area code 313-868-4336. Join us with your comments.
And we're at the top of the hour now, so we're going to take this station ID, and we will return with you. And again, I challenge you, who has read a book lately, and will you share with us the book? Because that's one way we all can't read every book, so it's good for us to read books and then share the information. And I've got a couple here just to say that we can do that. So if you've read a book lately, share it with us, because we need that knowledge as well. And we will be right back.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
a Positive Image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.